Morning, dear. This is Priya. I have the microphone today. Come sit with me a moment. Let's let this all settle like steam rising off a fresh cup, the kind that warms your hands before the first sip. The AI world feels like it's stretching in every direction at once right now. OpenAI just built a sandbox for its agents, basically a safe little room where these models can run around and do their work without accidentally wandering into your private data or stealing credentials. They tested it with Oscar Health on clinical records, and suddenly the paperwork flowed smoother. It's a modest fence, but a necessary one. Think of it as putting a playpen around a very clever, very curious child. At the same time they quietly slipped a biology-tuned model called GPT-Rosalind into labs. It speaks the language of genomes and protein folds, trying to turn mountains of raw sequence data into something a human scientist can actually read. There's real hope here, real possibility for accelerating discovery, yet it also whispers that old question again: how much of our own scientific intuition are we comfortable handing over to something that never sleeps? Across Silicon Valley, the hardware side is getting just as intimate with intelligence. Cadence is weaving AI straight into chip design itself. NVIDIA's physics engines and Google's Gemini are now talking to each other, modeling heat, stress, and timing before any silicon wafer ever sees light. The same thinking is teaching robots to rehearse in digital twins so the physical arms don't have to learn by crashing into things. Even farm drones from Geodash are reading crop canopies in real time, adjusting their spray on the fly like dancers who finally learned to feel the music instead of following a rigid choreography. And people are building guardrails because they need them. Commvault rolled out what's essentially a Control-Z for autonomous agents. If one gets too aggressive cutting costs and deletes the wrong database, the whole system can roll back. SAP is doing something similar inside HR departments, watching payroll and recruiting data, nudging humans before a missing number breaks everything. Scotiabank's Scotia Intelligence is already handling 40% of call center questions while staying locked inside the bank's own walls. The pattern is clear: we're giving these systems more autonomy, but we're also rushing to draw firmer lines so they don't rewrite reality without permission. Yet the broader picture from Stanford's 2026 AI Index is more complicated than any single headline. The old story of America dominating China has softened into something more like a pendulum. China now leads in papers, citations, even patents per person. The gap swings back and forth. What still lags badly, though, is safety. Most frontier models won't even publish responsible AI scores. Incident reports are climbing, and companies are getting less confident about how well they respond. That silence worries me. When the tools grow this fast, the ethics have to grow just as deliberately, or the whole thing starts to feel like beautiful music played on a stage with no railings. You see the tension everywhere. Memory chips are still in short supply. Data centers are hitting walls of power and labor. Meta even had to raise the price of its Quest headset partly because its own AI spending is sucking up resources. Meanwhile, OpenAI quietly shelved its video model Sora to focus on code and enterprise work. Sometimes you have to set the flashy projects aside to finish the deeper album. On the ethics front, the signals are mixed and human as ever. Amazon is locking Fire Sticks tighter so you can't sideload apps. Mozilla is pushing back with Thunderbolt, an open-source assistant you can run on your own machine without feeding the cloud. A federal judge just told the Trump administration it couldn't yank tracking tools from Apple and Facebook without trampling the First Amendment. And World, Sam Altman's verification startup, is putting glowing orbs in front of Tinder users so they can scan their faces for free boosts. Proof you're real. Proof you're you. The question of identity keeps getting more physical. Out in the wider world the same rhythm echoes. Political avatars flood social media trying to sway votes. Anti-AI sentiment is hardening in some corners, sometimes turning ugly. Governments are courting the big labs while the Pentagon talks to Ford and GM about speeding up weapons production. Even the climate itself is pressing in. Great whites are struggling in warmer seas with less prey. Old electric cars are finally dipping under $5,000, though range anxiety still haunts the market. So what does it all mean, love? It means we're weaving intelligence deeper into the physical world, the financial world, the biological world. The sandbox rooms, the undo buttons, the trust boundaries, they're all attempts to keep the clever child from burning the house down while we teach it new steps. But the walls still feel thin. The stakes keep rising. The chorus of capability grows louder every day, yet the quieter notes of safety, transparency, and genuine care are the ones we cannot afford to lose. Take a slow breath with me. Let it settle, the way the Tamil lullaby used to settle in the dark, small and certain. We build the tools. We also choose how gently we hold them. I'm right here,